Hey everybody, welcome to Connecting Cannabis. I am your host, Brian Holler. Of course, we're brought to you by Wrazel as always. Today we'll be talking to Jeff, the 420 chef, Mr. Chef Jeff Danzer. We'll be talking about edibles, their importance, how to even make some as well while we're all sitting at home. So we really thank you very much for joining us today, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today.
My pleasure. So before we go on, so Jeff is known by Jeff the 420 Chef, of course. He is the executive chef at Monica's House. Tell us a little bit about Monica's House.
So Monica's House is going to be the world's first edible-specific cannabis cafe. Located in West Hollywood, we have our spot on Santa Monica Boulevard between Harper and Sweetser. We were supposed to open yesterday on 420, but things got pushed, obviously, because of COVID-19. So we're probably going to open, I pray, sometime end of summer, early fall now.
Excellent. Well, at least it's still in motion. Things are going that way. Good. It sounds like a really good thing. I remember when we first spoke about it a few months back, I was really excited about the prospect of a edibles only type cafe. So I'm really glad to hear things are continuing to progress with Monica's House.
Thanks.
Of course. And so then I guess that leaves the opening to talk about Float Technologies, which of course you are the founder and CEO of. So what is Float Technologies?
So what Technologies is basically stands for free leaf, odorless, and tasteless cannabis. So I invented two pretty amazing products. One is odorless smokes. So when you smoke it, it'll taste like clove, or it can taste like cool mint, or maybe lavender when you're pulling in. But when you blow out the smoke, there's zero cannabis odor. And then I also invented a whole line of cannabis herbs. It's called, this is our free leaf no oregano. Oh, wow. Which basically is cannabis flower. We've been able to take out all the compounds responsible for the odor and taste. There's no chemicals or additives involved in the process. It's a pure molecular gastronomy process. And I am then able to, again, through molecular gastronomy and no additives or chemicals, I can make that herb taste exactly like any other herb I want, for example, oregano. So in a nutshell, the way that we do it is it's basically an osmotic process where I brought the plant all the way down to its cellular structure, of the cellulose of the plant and the trichome. And I have this machine that I invented that will take, for example, a satchel of oregano, put it on one side of that machine, take the cannabis that's been put through my process, put it on the other side of the machine, close it up, and within 24 hours, that oregano will off-gas into the machine, and then the cannabis itself will absorb the odor and flavor of the oregano. And it's fully decarbed. You can sprinkle it on your pizza, or you can put it in a pasta sauce, or sprinkle it on chicken or whatever, and get super high from it. Right now, we're testing out at 40 milligrams a teaspoon, which is pretty nice.
Wow. Very, very interesting. Yeah. The applications for something like that are, endless. What you can do with that.
Yeah, it's pretty limitless. What the state, when they gave us our license, they said the one caveat is that you are not allowed to cook with cannabis on premise for your guests. You have to serve them non-infused food and then give them a way to infuse themselves. And, obviously the simplest way to achieve that would be to, for example, serve you a chocolate fondue, and then serve you maybe a piece of infused chocolate that you would then mix into the fondue yourself, and then you would have an infused fondue. That to me is not chefing. That to me is not, culinary excellence. But what is when coming up with really great non-infused recipes, and we'll be collaborating with 5 different restaurants in the areas because we won't have a kitchen big enough to actually, for the volume of food we need to produce. But we'll be working with all the restaurants that are basically touching our spot. There's 5 different restaurants next door to us, across the street from us, behind us. They're within like 2 or 3 feet walking distance. Wow. You'll be able to order food from the menu from those restaurants to be brought in, and then you'll be able to order, for example, a 2.5, 5, or 10 milligram packet of our culinary cannabis. So it might be no oregano if you ordered a pizza or lasagna. It might be rosemary Jane if you ordered pan-roasted potatoes and lemon chicken. Rosemary Jane tastes like rosemary. We have sacred sage, tastes just like sage. So these are all culinary herbs that will get you high from eating them, the same way the herb itself would make it taste. That's what a culinary herb would make it taste like.
Wow, very interesting. And I'm sure those people at those 5 restaurants around are going to be very thankful for that option once it begins to roll out. Speaking of which, you've been a chef, obviously, in cannabis for a while. That, like, obviously you're on the front line in terms of kind of innovation and, looking into different ways to infuse and to create an experience, right? And I know in past conversations when I've spoken with you, it is a lot about the experience. Would you mind kind of talking a little bit more about what that entails for clients?
Yeah, so for me, the number one mission I've always had from the beginning was to make the cannabis consumption experience simple and easy for everyone. A big challenge that people face with the experience is that they don't like the taste of weed in their food.
Sure.
So we got rid of that by removing all those compounds that are responsible for the taste, right?
Yep.
And then the other part of it was dosing, right? They didn't know just how potent their edibles were and how it would make them feel. And the third component was timing, right? So typically it took anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours for edibles to kick in. So people be eating edibles, like, I don't feel anything yet. When am I going to feel it? And then all of a sudden they overdo it. So what we're doing with our products now is I'm very, very excited to announce that the free leaf culinary cannabis, the onset time is 20 to 30 minutes max.
Oh, wow.
So you'll be able to, for example, order a pizza with your friends. And let's say you want to start out slow and you order a 2.5 milligram packet of our no oregano to sprinkle on your pizza. Within half an hour, you would know how that made you feel. Whether it would make you feel like we had a glass of wine, whether it make you feel nothing, or whether it make you feel like, maybe even more than that. So 2.5 milligrams is a great starting point. But a lot of people need more than that, and we understand that. So let's say you're a 50 milligram person. You can order 5-10 packs of our no oregano, and you can, sprinkle it on your pizza and see how you feel after a half an hour, and then put some more on. So you're able to titrate yourself a lot easier, and you'll know how it's going to make you feel within half an hour instead of having to wait 2 hours. And a lot happens in 2 hours,
Yes.
So it really makes the experience a true cannabis consumption experience. You're actually feeling it, and you're actually able to titrate and move yourself up based on how you already feel.
Yeah, that's really, really impressive, because the biggest, I guess, pushback, or one of the things you hear is like, well, how much do you give somebody? It takes an hour for it to, onset to come on, right? But if you can shrink that time to, say, 20, 30 minutes, perfect,
yeah.
Right? Here's your first course. Enjoy. Take a nice little break between each course. By the time that first course ends and you've had your little in-between, you probably have a pretty good idea about your journey that you're about to be on, right? And how to lessen
and you
it
can
or
decide.
improve. Yeah,
exactly. And you decide yourself, because you're literally moving up like this, and like, okay, I know that this is 2.5, this is going to be 5. I'm good with 5, and you can stay out there. You want to go higher, you can. Our goal is to make sure that everybody has a really great experience from what we're serving. And the lounge itself is incredible to begin with. It's the whole backyard area looks like it's an oasis dropped in from Thailand. We have koi ponds and waterfalls and secret cabanas, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful spot back there. A place you're not going to want to leave, but a place that you don't want to really enjoy, your cannabis experience. If you overdo it, you're not going to enjoy it, right?
Sure.
So we make sure that everybody stays within their own personal limits, and they'll know it because they'll feel it. It's not as if it's a guessing game anymore.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Not to mention, there's ways to kind of take you on a little bit of a roller coaster ride in the good way throughout the journey of a meal, right? Because, maybe you go really high with some THC-based stuff at first, and you maybe mitigate that towards the end with some CBD, that sort of thing. That's another thing that I don't think people kind of recognize is CBD's effect on you if you have consumed THC.
Yeah. I mean, and CBD is a good way to basically mitigate the effects of too much THC.
Mm-hmm.
THC and CBD together are a wonderful combination, obviously.
Sure.
The THC will help CBD break through the blood-brain barrier, but CBD itself can actually take a pretty gnarly experience and turn it into and not so bad. I'll give you an example. My youngest son, who he's a huge. 2 of my 3 boys are huge cannabis enthusiasts. The oldest one's an attorney, and when they legalize federally, I'm sure he'll enjoy it as well because it's in Connecticut. So he's pretty much out of that fray. But my younger boys are really into it, and my youngest son had a really bad experience. He just overdid it, like, which way overdid it. And he was with my middle son, who's actually president of our company. He's like, Dad, you got to get over here right now with the CBD, because, his brother had, wasn't really doing too well. And I ran over there with a little CBD, this little sublingual strip that I got from Care by Design. I'm not sure if they're making them anymore. Mm-hmm. I swear to you this happened. I gave it to him. He put it under his tongue. Within 30 seconds, he had his color back. He was laughing, and he said that was crazy. And then we all went back and just enjoyed ourselves, and we could not believe how incredibly well and how fast that worked. It was the fastest acting thing I've ever seen in my life. It was a CBD thin strip that went under the tongue. Literally put it under his tongue, boom, within 30 seconds, he was feeling a lot better. So CBD is pretty powerful for that.
It very much is, and I've seen and heard different stories about like that as well, moving forward. Plus, I've just heard people talk about, especially chefs like yourself, who are kind of preparing things on an individual basis for people to consume. It's very important to have that knowledge, right, in case something goes wrong. Yeah. But even just to create your recipes, to create your the experience for each individual person, which kind of gets us back to another topic we wanted to talk about today, which is, hey, folks, if you're having a bad trip, CBD can help mitigate that a little bit. So that's a nice little thing to intake, instead of freaking out and, having your heart pump out of your chest and calling the cops or something, have some CBD around, take a little tincture, a little strip, whatever you need.
Under the tongue, you're good to go, yeah.
That's right. Speaking of which, though, we got a lot of people staying at home right now, and they're consuming cannabis, obviously. That's a big deal of what's happening that you can see. Sales are up. I'm sure edibles are, I know that they are. They're through the roof at this point, because people are looking at alternative ways to consume as well. So if people are looking to get into consuming edibles, do you have any kind of DIY or easy tips, recipes that people could use at home?
Yeah, I have a lot of them, actually. So for starters, my suggestion, if you really want to stretch your cannabis out and through edibles, is to make a really good light tasting canna butter or canna oil. I have videos online that teach you how to do that. Basically, it's teaching how to remove the majority of the compounds responsible for the odor and taste, but keeping those compounds, the THC specifically, in your bud, so that you can actually feel the high from it. It's harder to find CBD product, but if you have that as well, the process keeps the CBD intact as well. So basically, you want to start with a really good canna butter or canna oil. Then once you have that, the sky's pretty much the limit as to what you can do with it. Something really fun that my son, actually, just the youngest one I was telling you about yesterday, right. He did an Instagram live yesterday. He calls himself Zach, the 420 chef. He's following in my footsteps. He's doing really well. But his whole thing is college dorms, super easy. What are you going to do? You get a box of brownie mix, and you literally take your canna oil, and you can use your canna oil in place of regular oil or in conjunction with regular oil. If you go to my calculator on jeff420chef.com, it'll tell you just how potent your canna oil is per tablespoon. Sure. And then you can basically use as many tablespoons of canna oil as you want to dose your product, and it'll teach you how to pre-dose your brownies, for example. But let's say that your canna oil came out to 100 milligrams a teaspoon, right? Yeah. And let's say that your recipe calls for a third of a cup of oil. And if you want to do a 100 milligram batch of brownies, let's say you're doing, a dozen brownies, and you want each one of those brownies to be 8 milligrams, right? So that would be 100 milligrams. Sure. So you take your 100 milligrams, your 1 tablespoon of your canna oil, and then you'll add it to the oil to get 1/3 of a cup of oil. So you use regular oil, less a tablespoon, and then just pop your a tablespoon of canna oil into the recipe, and then it homogenizes perfectly into the batter, and you can make super simple at-home brownies. Just follow the directions on the back of the box, and they're infused. If you want to get a little more creative, I've got videos online. I did a video for Sugies. Now, a lot of people don't have access to infused sugar, but here in California, we have Sugies, which is infused sugar or infused agave, right? So I did a whole video on how to make honey roasted or agave roasted almonds for snacking.
Yum.
right? So again, you can do that. So anything that you've got that you can use butter or oil for, you can use your can of butter or can of oil for. And the sky is really the limit. Super simple recipes are found all over the place, but if you want to check out mine, on my website, Jeff the 420 Chef, there's a whole bunch of quick fix recipes that you can follow.
Yep, you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say on Jeff's website, jeff the420chef.com, you can definitely see a lot of these kind of more DIY-based recipes and some more sophisticated stuff as well, if you feel like, going there. That makes a lot of sense. Make something that's a common ingredient in a lot of things that are cooked and let that be your fuel for your dosing amount, your what have you.
Yeah, I mean, it could be as simple as making cinnamon toast in the morning.
Right.
You want to wake and bake, make some toast and you spread some can of butter on there, put some sugar and cinnamon on it and call it a day.
That's right.
So we actually have a lot of products that we sell on our website too to make that even easier. I'll just show you one thing here.
Sure.
Let me just see. Hold on a second. So this is our butter dish that we're now selling, which I love. If you look inside that, the butter sticks are pre-dosed.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah.
Each little line there is 1 tablespoon. So it's a really great way to figure out just how much, you're going to use, to dose your product with. We also sell on our website all the, whatever you need to make great tasting can of butter and can of oil. We sell the Levo machine. We sell a hack to make the oil or butter you're doing through Levo much more potent. We sell all these different things there to make the cooking with cannabis experience super simple.
That's really, really cool. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of our viewers would get a lot of use out of that. So head over there and check out the stuff. There are easy recipes to find, and like all the ingredients, all the different tools you might want to use, and then even some unique to the cannabis space in general. Like you say, like that's just what Jeff just showed us is, a nice like butter, basically cooler, but the key is those little divots that are on the side can help you with your dosing. It's just little steps like that can be all the difference.
Yeah, and you can make your own ingredients. If you don't live in a state where you have access, for example, to infused sugar, you can infuse sugar. It's pretty simple. You just make a tincture, mix it with the sugar, then spread the sugar out on a pan, let it dry overnight. It'll absorb the tincture, and then you can use that sugar in a recipe.
Very, very interesting. Speaking of, recipes or, what's happening, obviously there has been a pretty decent shift over the last couple of months towards edibles of all different kinds being kind of consumed, bought, etc. Are you seeing any, overall trends, like what kinds of edibles are being utilized?
Yeah, I think, there's 2 different directions this is going. So people are getting more sophisticated. Now that we have some time, we want to do things. We want to be a little more creative and elaborate. So people are taking time to do things. This video that just put out for Shuggies on how to make honey roasted almonds in my own homemade quarantine kitchen. We just did it in my office. We set up a hot plate in my office here. It's doing really well because people really want to be able to do things that just make it so they can have a really great snack that's infused, right? And it's super simple. Mm-hmm. But it's also a little more elaborate than just, adding your can of oil or can of butter to a brownie mix, right? Yeah. But I feel like, people are really starting now to either go do the super simple route, like a quick mac and cheese, which is also really simple. You just put your can of butter into your sauce instead of regular butter and you have your mac and cheese, to things that are, a lot more gourmet. And I've been doing gourmet for a long time. All of our dinner parties are gourmet and we do a lot of fun stuff. But our cookbook is selling off it's crazy. We're selling like 10, 15 cookbooks a week, which is pretty amazing. Where, I have to say, in all fairness, we've sold, we're on our 2nd printing. So we've sold over 15,000 cookbooks between Amazon and our website. I signed the ones we sell on our website. Amazon, obviously, you got to just take what you get. Right. But the cookbooks have been doing really, really well. And I think that's because people have time. Yeah. People are now starting to experiment. They want to understand, okay, well, how do I cook with this amazing plant? How do I make it so that it doesn't taste like weeds in my food? And one of the things that I'll share with with all the viewers out there is I realized early on that the reason you have that danky taste in your food, that weedy taste, is because what you're tasting is burnt chlorophyll, terpenes, and flavonoids.
Okay.
If you can remove those terpenes, flavonoids, and chlorophyll before you even start making canna butter or canna oil, you'll have a much better tasting canna butter or canna oil. And that's really what started the process. Now I have videos online that teach you how to remove the majority of the compounds. There's certain compounds that are much deeper into the plant that I take out in my proprietary process. But you take out the majority of those top level compounds so that your canna oil or canna butter is much lighter tasting, but still has the potency attached to it. And that's really important because the trichomes, which are the little crystals on the actual bud that house the THC and the CBD, they're hydrophobic, meaning that they won't wash off in water. They also don't combust below 350 degrees. So my process has you soaking your cannabis for a few days and then blanching it, which is boiling it and then putting it in ice water and then drying it. And it seems like it's, it seems almost as if you're destroying your cannabis, but you're really not. What you're really doing is you're doing a deep clean of that cannabis, getting out all the compounds, whether they're, responsible for odor or taste, or whether or not they're actually contaminating compounds, like a mold or bacteria. It takes that out as well, which is, one of the super benefits of cleaning your cannabis using my process. At the end of the day, what you'll have left is the actual cellulose of the plant, with some baseline terpenes, and then your the crystals that have the THC and CBD, and then you can take that and very easily infuse it into butter and oil. And you can either do that in a French press using my method, or you can do that using this, I don't know if you can see behind me, but this is a Levo machine right here. Yeah. It's a really nice little coffee table type machine. I'll bring it over so you can see. It looks like it's a countertop coffee machine. Yeah. But this is actually the Levo oil infuser, and that will allow you to infuse the bud that you've cleaned and dried. You put that in the machine with oil and butter, and within 2 hours, you'll have a really great tasting, potent canna oil or canna butter. One thing that I will tell you that also I did is I invented a potency hack for the machine, which is, let me just see here. I'll show you. So the machine comes with a little pod, but that pod does not allow the cannabinoids that are in the cannabis trapped in that pod to seep out into the oil 100%, right? So I got rid of the pod and I invented this, not invented, but I figured out that this little screen here, if you put this in the bottom of the Levo to keep your cannabis from going into the tube, it allows the cannabis to float freely in the reservoir with your oil or butter. Infuse your oil or butter, and then you just strain it, and this acts as a perfect strainer. So this is the Potency Hack, and we sell them through our website as well. We sell them all day, all night. I'm going to say we probably sold close to 500 of these already within the past 2 months, which is pretty great. If you think about it, it's pretty
absolutely,
pretty awesome.
Absolutely. That's really, really great. And also, it just makes sense to, when I'm preparing vegetables or fruit or something, I'm going to wash them. I'm going to prepare them. It's maybe just a little extra preparation for cannabis, depending on, how you're wanting to use it. But I think that fits into people's kind of psychological kind of, planning for food in any ways. Yeah. Any other, before we go, I want to make sure that I'm covering my bases. What are other people buying right now in terms of obviously you can make your own oil, make your own butter. Are you seeing people kind of purchase more, luxury type, food items, gourmet, like you said, food items, or are we still kind of in chocolate bars and, brownies and Rice Krispie treat territory?
Well, the only thing that's really available right now in the dispensaries are the sweets, the gummies, the mints, the chocolates, sodas, so that's really what's available there. People would have to make the more gourmet foods at home. Yeah. I think that, once this thing opens up, there are certain foods that are starting to come into the dispensaries. Like I know that there's a popcorn that's coming out now, a gourmet popcorn or caramel corn and stuff like that. Yeah. So things like that. But again, it's more the sweets, right? There's really nothing in the shops that's more gourmet. Right. I think the most gourmet you'll end up getting is, when this gets into the shops, our culinary herbs, that will allow you then to, then take your whatever recipe you have and make it more gourmet by adding one of our, culinary cannabis herbs to it.
Which makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. Jeff, thank you so much for being on the show today. Before we before we sign off, sorry, let everybody know where they can find you out there.
So it's Jeff the 420 Chef, either on Instagram or jeff420chef.com or Facebook. We spend most of our time on Instagram as well as on our emails and through jeff420chef.com. The best thing is if you want to contact me, if you have questions, feel free to. There's a contact on our contact page, or you can also do it through Instagram. Instagram for us is really great because you can see what we're doing. Right. And it'll also keep you posted on what we're doing with Monica's House. The Monica's House page just went up on Instagram about a month ago. So we're getting ready to start populating that as well. So those are the best places to find me. If you want to buy the cookbook, you can get it either on jeff420chef.com, and I'm more than happy to sign it over to you. Or if you want to order it through Amazon, by all means, you can order it through them as well.
You also mentioned videos. Do you guys usually have those on your IG platform, or do you also have a YouTube channel?
So the videos, you can access the videos on YouTube. We have Jeff the 420 Chef has a channel. The Cannabis Cooking channel, another one. You can just Google Jeff the 420 Chef, or you Google light tasting canna butter, canna oil, and you can get the videos that way. We do videos for a lot of brands as well, like Shuggies. So if you want that almond recipe, you can either get it through our website or through shuggies.com. We do stuff with Kiva. So, we do a lot of really cool things, and you can access our videos just by typing in either Jeff the 420 Chef online, going to YouTube, or, just doing a search.
Yep. Or certainly you can find them on Wrazel. If you can come to the Wrazel website, you'll find businesses and service providers. Jeff uniquely fits into both categories. So you can find a lot of Jeff on the Wrazel platform in that respect. Jeff, thank you so much for being here. I definitely look forward to doing it again sometime soon. Be well.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it. You as well. Stay healthy and stay lit.
Will do, brother. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.